Anthropic just came for big law. Today, Anthropic released 20+ legal connectors and 12 practice plugins for Claude, and Westlaw is now inside the model. OpenAI launched Daybreak, its answer to Anthropic Glasswing, with 8 named enterprise partners. And Google previewed Gemini Intelligence, the layer that turns Android from an operating system into an intelligence system. 3 stories, 1 thread. The Frontier Labs just picked their verticals. Story 1. Anthropic just made its biggest vertical push to date, 20+ MCP connectors, 12 practice area plugins, a Thomson Reuters partnership that puts 1.9 billion Westlaw documents inside Claude. The legal tech stack just got absorbed into one model. Law sites broke it. Quote from the headline, Anthropic goes all in on legal, releasing more than 20 connectors and 12 practice area plugins for Claude. Read the connector list. It is not a sample, it is the legal tech stack. Harvey, Solve Intelligence, DocuSign, Ironclad, Definely, iManage, Net Documents, Relativity, Everlaw, Concilio, Box, DataSite. 12 more on top. Anthropic is not partnering with 1 or 2 legal tech vendors. It is connecting Claude to virtually every tool a lawyer touches in a working day, and letting one agent carry context across all of them. 1.9 billion Westlaw documents, now reasoned over directly by Claude, plus 1.4 billion key site validity signals, plus a patent-pending citation ledger that makes every source traceable in 1 click. The site-checking workflow that took a paralegal an afternoon just collapsed into seconds. Thomson Reuters' own press release confirmed it. Claude now sits directly inside CoCounsel Legal. The 2 largest legal AI brands on the buy side and the sell side are now the same product surface. That has never happened in this category before. And the 12 practice plugins extend that into the depth dimension: commercial, corporate with M&A due diligence and closing checklists, employment, privacy, product, regulatory, AI governance, IP, litigation. Each plugin starts with what Anthropic calls a setup interview. The model learns the firm's playbooks, escalation chains, risk calibration, and house style. The model adapts to the firm before the firm uses the model. TechCrunch and Fortune both covered the launch from different angles. TechCrunch framed it as Anthropic's most expansive push yet. Fortune captured the countervailing angle. Hallucinations are still showing up in legal filings. Lawyers using AI badly are still getting sanctioned. Big Law is adopting anyway. The bet is that the productivity gain outweighs the residual risk. Here's the framing. Anthropic is doing in legal what Palantir did in defense: embedded vertical depth, model plus workflow plus integration on one bill. Legal services in the US alone is a $400 billion industry. McKinsey, Accenture, and Deloitte have been talking about disrupting it for a decade. Anthropic is shipping the disruption this week. $400 billion. The US legal services market. That is the addressable surface. 20 connectors, 12 plugins, 1 Westlaw partnership. The plan to capture it is now public. The vertical conquest era just started. The lab is no longer a model business. The lab is now a workflow business. Watch which vertical falls next. Finance, accounting, and healthcare are the most exposed. Story 2. Pivot to cyber. OpenAI launched Daybreak on May 11th. The framing is unambiguous. Daybreak is OpenAI for cybersecurity, and the structure is unambiguous too, a direct response to Anthropic's Project Glasswing. The Daybreak page went live on OpenAI's site this week. Vulnerability detection, patch validation, threat modeling, dependency risk analysis, remediation guidance, the security development loop, end-to-end, powered by GPT 5.5 and Codex security. 3 model tiers: GPT 5.5 with standard safeguards, GPT 5.5 with trusted access for cyber for verified defensive work in authorized environments, and GPT 5.5 Cyber, the permissive variant trained for red teaming and penetration testing. The same 3-tier pattern Anthropic shipped with Mythos, different model family, same product surface. 8 named partners: Akamai, Cisco, Cloudflare, CrowdStrike, Fortinet, Oracle, Palo Alto Networks, Zscaler. Read that list. It is not a launch showcase. It is the entire security perimeter of the modern enterprise. Whatever a Fortune 500 SOC buys from any of those 8 vendors will now ship with a Daybreak integration option. The Hacker News ran the technical breakdown. Daybreak builds an editable threat model for a given repository, focuses on realistic attack paths and high-impact code, identifies and tests vulnerabilities in an isolated environment, proposes fixes. That is the workflow inside 1 click. Here's the strategic read. The cyber AI category is now a two-vendor coalition war. Anthropic's Project Glasswing on one side, OpenAI's Daybreak on the other. Every CISO at a large enterprise will spend Q3 picking which coalition to commit to. The vendors not on either list, and there are many, will spend Q3 figuring out how to be added before the coalitions close. What to watch? Whether Google ships a Gemini for security counter inside 60 days, whether AWS pivots its security product line to default include one of the two coalitions, and whether CISA blesses one coalition for critical infrastructure use, all three move the market by year end. Story 3. Google previewed Gemini Intelligence at the Android Show I/O edition this week. Samat, who runs Android, gave CNBC the framing. Google is transitioning Android from an operating system to an intelligence system. Read that sentence twice. CNBC's framing. Google races to put Gemini at the center of Android before Apple's AI reboot. The timing is the strategic part. Apple's WWDC is 3 weeks away. Google scheduled the Gemini Intelligence preview specifically to set the narrative ahead of WWDC. Samat's line is the headline. Quote, "We are transitioning from an operating system to an intelligence system." End of quote. That is the line of the year so far for the Android platform. Android stops being a mobile OS that happens to have a chatbot. Android becomes an agentic platform where the system itself is the assistant. The capability set. Gemini Intelligence pulls relevant information from Gmail, builds shopping carts, books reservations, looks at a barbecue guest list, builds a menu, adds ingredients to Instacart, returns for approval before checkout. The OS just became the agent. Engadget ran the full announcement recap. Gemini Intelligence, Google Books, Android Auto with Material 3 Expressive, Aluminium OS, wireless iPhone to Android transfer, pause point for mindless scroll, Rambler voice to text, a 3D revamp of Android's emoji. Read the full list and the pattern is clear. Gemini is no longer a feature. Gemini is the platform. 3 weeks. That is the window before Apple's WWDC. The Gemini Intelligence preview just set the bar. Whatever Apple Intelligence version 2 ships on June 8th will be measured against the Samat line. Apple's response is now reactive, not setting the agenda. 3 frontier labs. 3 vertical bets. Anthropic took law, OpenAI took cyber, Google took the operating system the same week. The frontier model business just became a vertical conquest business. Build assuming that pattern continues. Pull the 3 stories together. Anthropic took law, OpenAI took cyber, Google took the operating system, same 7 days. The frontier lab category is no longer a model business, it is a vertical conquest business. The lab makes the model, the lab embeds in the workflow, the lab keeps the spread. Builder takeaway. Pick your vertical before the lab picks it for you. If you are building anything horizontal that touches AI integration, you are now competing with the labs themselves. The defensible position is depth. Pick a vertical no lab has claimed yet, build the integration layer, ship before they do. That is the May 14th briefing. Anthropic took law, OpenAI took cyber, Google made Android the assistant, 3 stories, 1 thread. For ANN Live, this is AI News Now, proof, not press releases.